Okay, and welcome then to this short video on the relationship between sport and the media. And this is particularly going to look at what's sometimes known as the golden triangle. And that is the relationship between sport, sponsorship and the media, and basically how all three impact on each other and kind of have a relationship with each other that's mutually beneficial. Okay, so we'll start off then by looking at sport and how sport is affected by media and sponsorship. Okay, so in the most simple terms then, if I'm a sport and I want to get more people playing my sport and I want to try and make some money and therefore reinvest that into my sport to make the experience for players and performers and fans and things better, I'm going to need the media and I'm going to need sponsorship. Okay. Now, why does sport need the media? Well, if you want to raise the profile of your sport and you want as many people as possible watching your sport, you need to try and get your sport into the media. Okay, and what sports do to get themselves in the media is they sell what's known as TV rights. So that's one example. You can sell your TV rights. You can give a particular media company or particular media organisation the right to show your sport on their media outlet, and they obviously have to pay you. They have to pay you quite handsomely to be able to do that. As a result of you then being in the media and you're getting your money from TV rights, your sport will then grow, and it can grow for two reasons. Number one, because you've now got this media money, this TV right money coming into your sport, you can reinvest that in things like coaching programs, better facilities, perhaps buying better players for your team that makes them more successful, that generates even more interest in your sport or your club. And the other thing that you can do as a result of your sport being in the media is increase your fan base, because if you've suddenly got something like the Rugby World Cup being shown on ITV, then suddenly you've got potentially millions more people watching your sport than what would be watching it normally, and that's going to increase your fan base. It's going to increase the amount of people perhaps going to rugby games in the first place, or the amount of people that are looking at taking up rugby as a hobby, and all that ultimately leads to more money coming into your sport. Now, sponsorship also has a big effect on sport, and sport needs sponsorship in order to survive. And again, this kind of is a result of your sport being in the media. If your sport is in the media, your sport is then going to start to attract sponsorship. And basically, that could be something as simple as a company wanting to sponsor the front of a shirt on a football team, or it could be something like an individual athlete being paid by a sports brand or a drinks company or something to use their product. And the reason these sponsors are there trying to promote their products or attach them to a certain sport or a certain individual or a certain team is because they want their products to get exposure and they want their products to be associated with success. Okay, then let's now look at how the media benefits from its relationship with sport and its relationship with sponsors or sponsorship. So the media wants to try and get as many people using its outlet as possible. So, TV companies like Sky want to sell as many subscriptions as they possibly can. TV channels like BBC and ITV want as many viewers as they possibly can. And one of the ways that you can attract more viewers or potentially subscribers, so paying customers, is by showing sports events. And by making that sports event perhaps exclusive on your media outlet will help to obviously get you more viewers, potentially more subscriptions and a lot more money coming in. So examples of sport being used to try and sell subscription packages and things like that, well, the big example within the UK would be a sport like football, or particularly high level football like the Premier League or the Champions League. They are shown exclusively in this country if you want to watch live games on subscription services like Sky, BT Sport, Amazon Prime, and to be allowed to do that you have to pay a subscription. So the media companies like this, they'll pay for the media rights to a particular sport, and then they're allowed to exclusively show that sport, which means all the fans of sport have to watch it on their media outlet and therefore have to give that media outlet money potentially to be able to do that. It doesn't always work like that. Obviously there are certain events that are still shown on terrestrial TV, so Events like Wimbledon or the Olympic Games have to be shown by law. I won't go into that on this video, but have to be shown by law to an extent on terrestrial TV. But again, TV channels like the BBC benefit massively from this because they'll get massively increased viewing figures when something like the Olympics are on or Wimbledon are on, and they will then more likely to use and watch their media outlet in the future. Now, it's not just TV companies or that arm of the media that benefit from sport. You'll obviously see it in all different branches of the media. Another big one tends to be the newspapers, and newspapers know that by featuring stories on sport, they will potentially sell a lot more newspapers. So if there's a big sports headline, whether it's a positive one or a negative one, you can generate more traffic, more media traffic, therefore more sales of your newspaper by featuring stories on sport. Okay. Now, another way that the media benefit is from sponsorship. Okay, and the reason that this sponsorship is coming in is because they are showing sport on TV or within their media outlet in the first place. So if I am Sky TV or something like that, and I've secured a multi-million pounds and sometimes multi-billion pound deal to show a particular sport, Premier League football, Test cricket, whatever it is, as soon as I've secured those rights, I am going to find sponsors and sponsorship wanting to advertise and wanting to promote their products and their services on my media outlet, and they will pay my media outlet a lot of money to be able to do that. I mean, examples could be something like, when the football's on, normally just before the whistle goes to start the game of football, you get an advert for Domino's Pizza flashing up around the outside of the stadium saying, "Order your pizza now for half time." Suddenly, a load of people who are watching pick up the phones, go on the Domino's app and order a pizza. So Domino's make loads of money out of it. And they know that that's going to happen, so they're happy to pay Sky TV or BT Sport lots of money in sponsorship and advertising to get their advert on TV, because they basically know that they're going to make that money back because they're going to sell loads of pizzas to all the people that are watching the football. So it works in many weird and wonderful ways. That basically, once a media company has secured the rights to sport, they will start to get the sponsorship money flooding in. Okay, and that will hopefully in turn make the media coverage higher quality, better quality, because the media company are making so much money out of it. Okay then, so the final part of the Golden Triangle is looking at sponsorship and how these sponsors selling their products and their services benefit from being in a relationship with sport and being in a relationship with the media, and how that all kind of comes together. So basically, if I'm looking to promote my product or my service, I want as many people as possible to see my product or service, or to be told to use my product or service. Now that could be very, very obvious, something like an advert coming on or something like that, or it could be something a little bit more subliminal. For example, something like Beats headphones. They won't have a Beats headphones advert on during the football saying buy Beats headphones, blah, blah, blah. What you'll have is, as the players are all getting off the coach at the start of the game, with hundreds and hundreds of sort of TV cameras and newspaper cameras, they're all taking photos, all the players will have the Beats headphones on as they're getting off, so that's slightly more discreet. But none of this would work, none of this sponsorship would work if it wasn't for the media. So sponsors need the media to be able to get their message out there, their adverts out there, and get their products out there. Well, like I said, it can be done in fairly obvious ways, things like sponsors paying the media company to be allowed to show an advert at a particular time. So it could be something like a betting company saying, can we please have an advert on at half time during your football match, Sky TV, and Sky TV will say, yes you can, but you need to pay us lots of money to be able to do that. Sponsors are happy to do that because they know that they're going to get the money back from all the people that then bet using their betting company at half time. But yeah, the sponsors need the media, and if it weren't for the media, they would not be able to get the products and services out there and noticed. So it's a very, very important relationship. The reason then that sponsors need sport is because obviously sport gets a lot of media coverage anyway, but by associating yourself with sport, the power of association is very powerful. You can potentially associate your product with success. So examples of that might be that a particular sports brand or something might sponsor a high-profile athlete or a high-profile football team or sports team. It doesn't really matter what it is, but if they are successful and they all wear that particular sports brand, then people out there looking at these teams and individuals as role models are going to think, oh, well, that person wears, Nike stuff, so obviously Nike stuff must be the best because they're the best and that's what they're wearing. It can also be things like, your sports drinks and stuff like that. It might be that a particular player has just won a Grand Slam tennis tournament and the US Open champion or something, and at the end they're sat there in the press conference and they're drinking Evian water. And again, everybody's kind of looking in the press conference saying, oh, right, that's the secret to the success. It's because they drink Evian all the time. So the power of association is a big thing, and sponsors love to try and get themselves associated with success, and you particularly find the opportunity to do that within sport. And obviously, because sport is shown a lot in the media, sponsors absolutely love this relationship here because you're associated with that success and you've got massive exposure because sport has got massive exposure.